gallery downstairs. If you weren't able to find a seat, there are some seats downstairs. I'm excited to welcome Yoshiharu Tsukamoto to the Syracuse School of Architecture. We've been trying to schedule him for over a year now, and we're finally able to make it work. So we're extremely happy he could be here today. As you know, Yoshi is a partner of the design firm Atelier Bow Wow, which has to be the coolest name of any firm out there. He founded the firm in Tokyo in 1992 with Momoyo Kajima. And Yoshi teaches at the Tokyo Institute of Technology, where he also received his doctorate in engineering in 1994. He's also taught studios at UCLA and Harvard, and his books include Made in Tokyo and Pet Architecture Guidebook, both from 2001, Bow Wow from Post-Bubble City from 2006, and the recent Graphic Anatomy. In 1999, Yoshi received the 16th Yoshioka Prize and Gold Prize for Residential Architecture from the Tokyo Society of Architects and Building Engineers. This prize was awarded for his aptly named Mini House, a tiny 86 square meter house in Tokyo. This is only one of a host of small but intense architectural projects that experiment with adaptability, mutability, and even mobility to produce increasingly responsive urban interventions in Tokyo and elsewhere. In the spirit of Henri Lefebvre and Michel de Certeau, Atelier Bow Wow concerns itself with the practice of space, insisting on the importance of contributions by different publics and different modes of occupation in the development of architectural propositions. But they arrive at a different concept of user-generated design than the model proposed by Teddy Cruz in his lecture here last month. Atelier Bow Wow's work is not so much about getting out of the way so that users can generate architecture. Instead, Yoshi acknowledges that we as architects, quote, need the help of the users to achieve our intentions. Atelier Bow Wow has also designed a series of mobile furniture installations, or what Yoshi calls micro-public spaces, for several international exhibitions. These include the Furnicycle for the 2002 Shanghai Biennale and a Furnivehicle for the 2008 Venice Biennale. The most recent of these exhibitions is based on their research on the mid-century modern Los Angeles Case Study House program. Their small case study house, which is an exhibition I think we'll see a little bit more of shortly, is currently on display at the Red Cat Gallery in the Walt Disney Concert Hall in Los Angeles. Yoshi's lecture today is titled Architectural Behaviorology. Please join me in welcoming Yoshi Tsukamoto.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction, John, and thank you for inviting me to your university. And I'm very glad to be here with you and talk to you. And can you hear me? No. Can you hear me? Yes. Oh. Okay. The title, Architectural Behaviorology. Behaviorology is, I think it's not in the English dictionary, and I invented this word, but I actually found several websites which talks about behaviorology in sociology and economy. And so maybe this word will be more common in the future. And, definitely, this is me who start to use this word in architecture, so please remember that. And so today I'd like to talk about architectural behaviorology on showing our project, a recent project of Bow Wow. And what is architectural behaviorology? I like to explain briefly at the beginning. So I recently realized that most of our interest is on behavior which happening in the building and around the building. And it doesn't limit human behavior. it doesn't mean only human behavior. It also means behavior of nature, like wind and light and heat and water, and also behavior of the building in the city. And because we are always interested in to create a little bit different phenomena or different behavior from observing on existing behavior and phenomena. And in any cases, there are certain disciplines to dominate, to create this kind of, any kind of behavior. And, and then if you understand the mechanism of the behavior, we can intervene into the mechanism and try to change a little bit the relationship between the element, and then we can produce something new, something refreshing based on the daily things. And this is basically our intention, and we are always trying to synthesize all those three behavior about human being and natural element and also building behavior as in one architectural entity. And we believe that good building, good architecture is always has always this aspect. So through the and then okay, I like to start from to explain the most difficult part, the behavior of the building. Maybe you can understand the behavior of the human beings and behavior of the nature, like so light and wind. So the hot, so natural behavior, the behavior of natural element is very repetitive, and it's always, it doesn't betray you. It's because it's all happen based on the natural disciplines. So hot air goes up in the building, and if you have different temperature on one side of the building and another side of the building, you can create a wind, ventilation. And if you have a valley in the gathering point of the rainwater in your roof, you can have a leak from the water from the roof, and so natural phenomena never betray you, but human beings sometimes betray you, and building behavior also betray you. But if you see the human beings and building behavior carefully, we can find certain patterns which can be repetitive in time and in certain area. And this is examples called subdivision. This is also new word invented by me, and it means subdivided suburbia, subdivided suburban. So it talks about 85 years old suburban area of Tokyo, which now in the very central part of Tokyo. So the expansion of the city swallow this first generation of suburbia, and it becomes very important part of the city today. And it's a very popular residential area. And but this okay, and so this area is always under the pressure of real estate marketing, and so the price of land is extremely high. So and this cause the subdivision of land. So what's happened? Okay, I'm sorry. どうした? どうして? I'm very sorry. It was in my hard disk. で、どうなんだ、来るのか、大丈夫なのか、あれ、I'm sorry. Okay, I will continue to talk. And そうだね。and so it and when and then I start to realize that there are in on observing different behavior, we can play or we can work with different type of time, different rhythm. For example, the behavior of human beings can be observed in one day or 1 week, and the behavior of natural element like microclimate in the building can be observed in 1 day, but the hurricane cannot be observed not in 1 day. The birth of hurricane and the result and its itinerary of can be observed. We need 2 weeks to observe everything from the beginning to the end, and the change of the season we need 1 year to observe. And for building behavior in the city, we need maybe 50 years to watch. So in the time span of 50 years, we can see the behavior of the building. So with the idea of behaviorology, we can bring different type of rhythm into one project, or different type of time into one project. And this is what I'm very interested in now. And because I think architecture is a kind of social product which can emerge by the synthesis of different rhythm of society, or different rhythm of economy, or different rhythm of cultural change and cultural exchange, and different rhythm produced in the realm of change of lifestyle. So all those different rhythm meet sometimes to produce very interesting architectural object or product in the city, in our society. Mm-hmm. And so I'm always trying to with the idea of behaviorology, I also like to we are trying to produce a building with a sense of time and very alive quality of space. And yes. So, okay, let's talk about subdevelopment. Yeah, this Setagaya area was developed in 1923. So now it's 86 years old. And oh no. どうしたんだよ、君は。全く困ったな。OK。And but the average time span of a house in Japan is set 30 years. And so it means theoretically, during these 85 years, regeneration of house can happen twice. So it means most of the building, which we see now today, is third generation of building, third generation. And of course, there are differences between individual buildings in terms of lifespan. We can also have, we still have first generation and also second generation. So what we see as landscape of Tokyo is a mixture between 3 different generations of houses. And please imagine this 85 years in Japan. The society changed a lot, and the building regulation changed, building techniques changed, building materials changed. The okay. Okay. So we see very different condition of the building, also through different type of shape of the building. And this is why the city of Tokyo is described chaos. And I'm very interested in which kind of strategy we can apply to the situation of Tokyo as a young architect. And then I tried to understand the phenomena of Tokyo, and made a book called Made in Tokyo and Pet Architecture Guidebook. And then now we are interested in the urban morphology, which emerged in these 80 years or after World War II in the disciplines of detached houses. So most of the area of Tokyo is occupied by detached house. It's very different from the image of Shinjuku and Shibuya with a lot of illumination and a huge screen of TV on the facade of the building. But most of the part of Tokyo is occupied by this kind of low-rise housing. And this is really hard to redevelop by one centralized initiative. But it is I think it's very sustainable, because all change of all the replacement on and regeneration of this kind of urban pattern only happen grain by grain. And each houses and land are owned by different individuals. So government don't need to put any money to regenerate all this kind of structure. So this is a view of the city of Okusawa. So you can see many different type of buildings and some greens, and with different materials and etc. etc. And so the idea of subdevelopment is based on this observation of subdivision of land from initial condition in 1920s. At the beginning, the average of land was for one family house was 240 square meter. It's like 2,400 square feet. And then it becomes smaller and smaller because of one reason is because of heritancy, and until 1950s and 70s, children, if you have 2 or 3 children, you divide your land into 2 or 3 pieces and give them equally. But today, the situation is really changed. And even you have one children, you cannot give your land to your son because the heritage tax is extremely high, and the price of Okinawa area is also extremely high. So you have to pay over 60% of the price of the land. So it's not affordable for a normal employee to pay this tax. So what's happened now is subdivision of land, and people sell the part of the land of own property, original property, and build new building at this front part, and it produced this kind of shape, strange shape site called flagpole shape, and and this is the original, very original streetscape of Okinawa. We still have one street which keep this continuous green hedge for which is 50 or 60 meters long, including 4 or 5 houses. And this is, it was very beautiful, yeah. And this kind of landscape was created by first generation house, which has green hedge and garden and house in the garden. So house itself is hidden by green. And then second generation loses the frontage of the building, and also invasion of car motorization start in second generation. So some percentage of the frontage is occupied by garage. But in second generation house still have a big favor to hide the building by green. And third generation is something like this. And this is the land was bought by developer, and they divided the land into small pieces and built this kind of house. And then the frontage of the house becomes like around 6 meters, and 1/3 of the frontage is occupied by car garage, which is not deep enough, and so people just go in between cars. So and then I realized that what we are doing now is designing fourth generation house. It must be fourth generation. And then what is the fourth generation house? This is our question on designing the small house in Japan, in Tokyo. This is another example of third generation. This house behind the red car is built on the flagpole shaped site, and yeah. And one of the examples we've done is a guy house, which I lost the first page, but I'm sorry. The house with big roof, and okay. And something like this, very thin, tall house called house tower, which has 3 meters in width and 6 meters in depth, but 12 meters in height. And the space is connected by staircase, and so many floors are floating in the tower. The interior view is not horizontal; it's more vertical than horizontal. And another example is sway house, because it looks like building sway back from the regulation, and so it's apply new regulation to define the building volume in the residential area called sky coverage ratio, and then this volume is totally new in the area. But I think it could be also fourth generation. And I think the premise of fourth generation is redefining the gap space between buildings, because in Japan, building doesn't share the building wall with neighbors like a European house. But now the distance between houses are very, very short, very small. So basically it is just leftover space, abundant space. I really like to redefine those spaces as part of living space or space for living. And the second premise is bring back people to the exterior space, or providing the chance to stay outside of the house. So because everything happens now inside of the house, so if you walk in the residential area in daytime, you don't see anyone in the city. So, and the third premise is produce the space which is not just for family member. So it means like working space or gallery space or shop space, or where you can invite people to stay or to spend some time in the house. I think those three aspect is very important for fourth generation house especially in Tokyo. And then we designed a house in Atribawao as fourth generation house. The site is somewhere here. Yeah, it is here. It's totally surrounded by existing building, and so the atmosphere of the area is like this. We still have a single-story wooden house, which is of course first generation, and also we have a third generation house along the street, and then the site is like this. It's surrounded 4 buildings, and we have very little opening from our site to the south, which leads your site to the very old narrow slope. And we have also a big white wall of next apartment building, which can be the reflector of the light for our building. So we found it's not bad, and then we designed the house like this. So it's a house and office together. So this is ground level, so it's halfway sunken into ground, and the ground basement and ground floor level are occupied by office, and the upper levels are house. But the space in between office and house is called living room. Is a really open space in the house, so where office can also use this space. And so the house looks like this in the context. So it's hidden from public street. So we gave a very strange material for this building to enhance the casual aspect of this building, because it's hidden from the public street, so it could be in the pyjama. So we finish. It could be, so it's finished with asphalt seat with granule covered asphalt seat. So all the edges are finished like Chinese dumpling. And this is a diagram to show how we introduce well water in our building as resources of the energy. So the left light drawing shows the map. It is a mapping of a tropical night in Tokyo. So red zone tells 45 days of tropical night in summer, and our site is in red zone. So I don't want heat the city anymore by cooling my building. So we utilized water minus 40 meters underground, and put this water into heat exchanger and produce and squeeze the energy to cool the building and also warm the building in winter. And we recharge the water, well water, into another well, and we release them into the ground again. So we didn't use any infrastructure provided by city government to do this. And this system has a big radiator in the house, and which integrated in as part of the building element. So okay, the interior space is like it's really continuous, so you can see many different things together. So upper level is living space, and the lower level is office. So left side is the kitchen, and so office staff can cook during working. And so this is a view from dining space. You can watch the stuff. And this is a living room, which is, we try to make this space as open as possible to the gap space between buildings. And we can enjoy the reflection of light on the next apartment building. And this is the staircase to go up on the roof. This is a view from the bedroom. Yeah. Okay, and another house is called Ikushima Library. This is a house, but we call it library because it looks like a small library from the public street. It's also built in the flagpole-shaped site. And because this family, the husband and this family have too much books in their house for 5 members, and because husband and wife are writers, so they work in the house, and they bring all the documents and reference books and their books in the house. Then we finally arrived at the scheme that which divides the house into 2 parts, one for book and one for house. So so the half of the house is totally dedicated to the house, and people are kind of the guest of this house for the book. And this is a framework we invented during the process of designing of this house. So this is a view from the house of the book. So it is like this. In the very conventional roof shape, we have 2 pyramidal roof, one for book and one for people. And so this is a section. The half of the house is totally occupied by books, and half of them is occupied by people. And then within this framework, we can squeeze living space and the bedroom as much as possible, because the family understand very well, oh, now we are the guest of the book of house of a book, and they really enjoy this scenario. And so, for example, the house for, this is a children's room just beside the staircase. So please compare the size of the staircase and the children's room. So it's almost same size of bed. And so this is a view of the house of the book. Through this project, I start to realize that yeah, it's very okay. Oh, this is a view from the house of the book to the dining space. This is another view from dining space to book, house of book. I must show another one. Pony. あれ？そうかそうか。 then we recently finished the house called Pony Garden. It's okay. The site is near the lake, 1 hour from Tokyo. It's like the lake looks like this, and the site is rural, in the middle of farmland. But now this is also happening now in Japan. Many farmers cannot keep the farmland as farm, and they start to sell their land and to developer, and then small second house or primary house start to emerge in this kind of rural area. So it's a very strange mixture between residential and rural landscape today. And my client bought this land, which is at the edge of this area, and she is around 55 years old. Not around, she's 55 years old. She's going to retire in 5 years. And so then she wants to prepare her retirement. She is a horse lover, so she wants to spend her rest of life with horse. So she wants to buy a pony in the future. So, but after retirement, she cannot get a loan from the bank. So now she has to make her secondary house in this site. So she came to us to ask to design the house for pony, living with pony. And then this is the result, what we did. The house has manage of the horse, which is 13 meters and 20 meters rectangle shape, and the rest of the area is kept as green with wild weeds. So for pony, he or she eat the weeds. And then, so it is very, and the house, the budget was really modest. And, but she used some social mortgage program. And this program obliged the users to have over 75 square meter. So she doesn't need 75 square meter for this small house, but she must have 75 square meter to rent money. And then we decided to make living and dining and kitchen space as loggia. So it's our exterior space. We have a wooden shutter, but once we open the wooden shutter, it becomes an exterior space. It's like loggia space. And then it's allowed to contact with pony like this. So you can feed your pony sitting in the living room. And so the house is built at the corner of Manage. Yeah, it's like this. So you can see the pony every time. And only interior space is in the attic space. And attic space is interior. It's well insulated, and there is a glass wall which between pony room and people's room. So this is pony's space, and this is people's space. Sorry. So you can see the pony from the bedroom. Yeah, in the attic you have bathroom too. Yeah, it's like this. Okay. So it's like this. But I think this is very. I like this project very much because because of her how can I say very brave decision to live with pony. Because if she start live with pony, she cannot travel, she cannot go out. She must stay in this house. So it must be very sometimes difficult, but she preferred to be with pony, and it's produced very interesting, very unique rhythm in this house. So this is a house for this woman and pony, and it is not it's not same as it's not same rhythm produced by living with some guy or some human beings. And the area of the house is part of pony's manage. So pony generously give chance to the human beings to build the house in the manage, and then but the human being also gave up to have a glass window for on the ground floor level, and so interior space of the house could be again part of the manage. So, and this is I think this scenario of the house really touch the sense of generosity of space, and I really like this. It is really small project, but I really like it, and I feel I'm really looking for the day when pony start to live in this house with this woman, and because it is really real moment when this house is fulfilled with a very specific sense of time produced by this woman and pony. Okay. And so I like to show another project outside of Japan. Recently, half of our project is outside of Japan, and this is one of the first project for us. It's social housing in Paris, in 17th arrondissement. It's over there. Northwest part of Paris, yeah. So you see the grid, green grid. It is a cemetery, and you see the green line, lower part of this, bottom part of this green grid, and it is a 500 meters long street, which is now almost dead, because there's no intersection, no cafe, no entrance for apartment building. So it's totally just a street, and but it is really wide, 24 meters, and then government decided to divide this street into two, into two, and half of the street on which is a cemetery side are going to be the future site of the social housing. And because it's part of the new revitalization program of Porte Pouchet, which is that area, and they are going to destroy social housing built in 1960s. So 140 families will lose their house. So the government must build new housing in same neighborhood. And then this street was found as the site of the social housing. And this is a view of the street today. So you can see very beautiful alley in the cemetery. And we are Bauau are selected one of the 7 architects who work together along this street. And and we had several workshops to bring each ideas and discuss about which type of architectural element could be shared to create a commonality on this street, or what is a shared concept, spatial concept of this social housing, etc., etc. And and then Bauau interested in the repetition of windows in Parisian streetscape. And because I think it is a very redundant system, it is rediscovered. It could be discovered as another type of flexibility. For example, in this system of the repetition of windows, we don't see any unit of family. In the modern housing, in the social housing in 20th centuries, it's the structural system always fits to the unit of family. Then you can see the unit of family clearly from outside of the building. But I think it's not a good way to solve the problem of social housing. I think it's better to make more mysterious things. With this repetition of window, we can say I'm living here, or I'm living here, or I'm living here like this, or I'm living something like this. Or so many different combination of the window can be possible for single family unit. And and also another interesting element for social housing in Paris is this grill, which close their property from the public street. And at first, our group of architects trying to reject this element to create our social housing area, but our client they are called OPAC. It's a kind of private public sector which produce social housing for Paris, and they really insist on having this kind of fence between site and street. And then I realized it's better to reframe or redesign this kind of grill for housing. And we propose many different schemes, and the final scheme is like this. We are asked to design 20 houses in one plot. One plot is 55 meters in width and 12 meters in depth. It's really wide but shallow site. And we put 18 houses in very compact volume, which has 7 stories high. And then we have enough space between next building. And then we inserted 2 detached house between neighbors. So our intention is to produce detached house in the framework of social housing. So it becomes like this. So the building is made of the repetition of French windows and the irregular behavior of balconies, and 2 detached house, which is really gorgeous as social housing. So this is a view of from the street. So the fence is redesigned as a vertical garden on the street, and the house main volume of the social housing is a little bit set back from the street and create a garden for children, and it has a lodger space on the ground level. So it's also it will be very nice public space for inhabitants. So it's like this. And then what? Can I continue? It's so in the behaviorology, I'm always think about we start in many cases we like Parisian project. We start from very banal architectural element or architectural vocabulary, and then transform it on adapting to the specific condition or specific requirement of each project. And so the formation is one of very important aspect of our design. And we had a chance to design a chair, and then we proposed this dog chair. This is it's based on the idea that dogs are similar to chair. Dogs resemble to chair. They have 4 legs and a standing head like this, and they have a direction, and they both change its meaning and purpose by its proportion and size. So if you have a huge chair with very tall back, it can be the chair of the king. But if you have very small chair without any armrest and back, it could be for walking. And so same things happen in dog's world. So if the size is really small, it can be Chihuahua, and if it becomes very tall, it could be Vorozoi. So we designed 6 different chairs based on this observation of similarity between dog and chair. So we didn't design. Of course, we control all the proportions and the sizes and the materials, but the main idea of the design is to create a kind of this comparison between dog and chair. And once we set this framework, we can produce any kind of chairs on observing different type of dogs. And this black one is called Kai, and this tall one is called Borozoi. And it's also produce different, it also invite different behavior of human being. And if you set all 6 chairs like this, it looks like Borozoi is talking to other dogs. And then, I really like to explain the idea of micro public space. This is one of the examples called white limousine yatai. The left side is very normal food store. We call it yatai in Japanese. And it is considered as the lowest class of food service in our society. But the experience itself is really delightful. So I had many experience that it tastes really good, better than eating inside of the restaurant. And you can also easily talk to someone you don't know. So it's create very nice atmosphere of sharing space with someone others. And I think in the experience of yatai, we don't just experience the meals, but we also experience the sense of public space. So everybody who participate in this food stall, yatai, are supporting this space. And I really like enlarge this experience to redefine and go out and rescue from the notion of yatai from the lowest class of food service. And so we stretched the yatai into 10 meters long like this, and then invite 30 people together at once for dinner and drinking party. And so then it becomes really architectural. So the structure is 10 meters long. Yatai is like this. It's a steel truss with wheel.